أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واذكر في الكتاب مريم إذ انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا فأرسلنا إليها روحنا فتمثل لها بشرا سويا قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا قال إنما أنا رسول ربك لأهب لك غلاما زكيا قالت أنى يكون لي غلام ولم يمسسني بشر ولم أك بغيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين ولنجعله آية للناس ورحمة منا وكان أمرا مقضيا فحملته فانتبذت به مكانا قصيا فأجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا فناداها من تحتها ألا تحزني قد جعل ربك تحتك سريا وهزي إليك بجذع النخلة تساقط عليك رطبا جنيا فكلي واشربي وقري عينا فإما تريني من البشر أحدا فقولي إني نذرت للرحمن صوما فلن أكلم اليوم إنسيا فأتت به قومها تحمله قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا يا أخت هارون ما كان أبوك امرأ سوء وما كانت أمك بغيا فأشارت إليه قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد صبيا قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا صدق الله العظيم.
Good morning. It's wonderful to greet you on this Christmas Day, where I'm bringing the interfaith Christmas message from Claremont Mosque. It's even a greater privilege to do it from this place. My connections with this mosque run deep and far back into the past, when Imam Hassan Solomons was still the Imam here at this place, and he and I were good friends and comrades in the struggle. And of the many, many things that we had gone together, I still remember 1979, a very difficult time after the turbulent years of 76 and 77, and the police were cracking down hard on any kind of black political protest. And then in 79 they shot 3 young boys in Guguletu and banned the funeral, which meant that only the family could attend that funeral. We of course said no. We wanted to be with the family, in solidarity with the family and the community, and as a protest against police brutality. And so we called for a march. It wasn't a big march, it was a very, very small crowd, not more than 20-25 people. Many of my colleagues who promised that they will come did not come, but Imam Hassan Solomons was there, and was also Farid Esak. And we marched arm in arm towards the Guguletu Bridge. And as we came on the bridge, there was the police with their guns and their dogs and their armored vehicles. The only thing missing were the helicopters. A large police contingent for such a small crowd. We were marching. He had his Quran in his hand. I had my Bible in my hand. And when the police converged upon us, we all fell down on our knees and we started praying. And they physically had to pick us up, put in the police vans and carted us off to prison. That's the kind of memory that I have, because it was in those moments that my understanding and passion for interfaith solidarity became a reality and grew in my life. We started on a journey then, Imam Hassan Solomons and I, and that journey has not ended just because he had died. That journey is picked up again today from the present Imam of this mosque, Dr. Rashid Omar, a fighter for justice and for interfaith solidarity in his own right. And his journey started way back in 1976 when, as a young student, he was the leader of that historic march of Salt River High School through the streets of Cape Town to Parliament. And that journey is still continuing, and we are together on that journey now, still on the way to a more perfect democracy, a greater era of solidarity for our people, a great era of justice and freedom and equality and inclusion. That journey still goes on. And it is with that in mind that I thought that this Christmas we should meditate a moment on the theme, we are on a journey. Please allow me to read one verse from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 1, where the story of the birth of Jesus is told. It says in verse 23, "Look, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they shall name him Emmanuel," which means God is with us. We are on a journey. Advent is not only a story of great and wonderful expectations, it is also a story of the journey towards the fulfillment of all of those expectations. And there are many journeys within the Christmas story, and that is no surprise. Mary, the mother of Jesus, journeys to Elizabeth, her cousin, both of them expecting. The shepherds in the fields in Bethlehem get told by the angels that they have good news for all people, and they travel from their fields to Bethlehem, to the inn in Bethlehem, and behind the inn to the stable where the child lay. The Magi, the wise men from the east in Matthew chapter 2, come from their far off country, led and guided by a star, to the place where the child lay to bring homage to this newborn king. All journeys. And these journeys are accompanied by the songs of angels, people with joyful hearts and great and heightened anticipation. But we find in the biblical story of Advent that these journeys are also journeys with a shadow side. Mary and Elizabeth know. Mary would give birth to Jesus. Elizabeth would give birth to John the Baptist. They both know that a sword would pierce their hearts. John the Baptist would be beheaded by King Herod. Jesus would be crucified by the Roman Empire. When the angels gave good news to the shepherds. There is a reason why in Luke chapter 2 the angels keep on saying to the shepherds, do not be afraid, do not be afraid, do not be afraid. Why? Because good news for the poor and the oppressed is bad news for the oppressor and the rich and the powerful. This Jesus who was to be born, we learn in the Gospels, would be the liberator of the oppressed. He would release the captives. He would be the defender of the poor and the widow and the stranger and the orphan. He would be the healer of the brokenhearted. That's good news for the oppressed, but it's bad news for those who keep them oppressed, because their hold of power over them would now be broken. Their power would be broken. And so the shepherds knew that while they were bringing good news to the rest of the world, they were bringing bad news to the powerful in Jerusalem and the powerful in Rome. The Magi, when they come from their far-off country, guided by the star, would stop by the palace. The star did not stop by the palace, they did. But that palace was a place of dark foreboding, a place of deceit, a place of political intrigue, a place of murderous intent, because the king wanted to know where the baby was so that he could kill him. Dark shadows hanging over all those journeys. And it's true, Mary and Joseph would soon have to flee from their home country to Egypt to escape the wrath of this fearful and frightening and murderous King Herod. Shadows stalking the journey. Not unlike the journeys we have been on as a people. All these many years and the journey we are still going on. It's not always a journey and the bright sunshine of anticipation and joyfulness. Our journey sometimes goes through the roiling waters of doubt and adversity. Battered by the winds of injustice, we journey on. We go up the rough side of the mountain and down into the valley of the shadow of death. But our journey still goes on through the scorched earth caused by and left behind by apartheid, to the new scorched earth of new lies and new empty promises and new greed and new corruption. It keeps on, the scorched earth, and we journey through it. Journey through a scorched earth, South Africa, where we are still the most socially, economically unequal country in the world. The poor in South Africa are now poorer than they were before 1994. And the rich, the old rich and the new rich, are now richer than they were before 1994. There is a cycle of perpetual impoverishment, and there is a cycle of perpetual enrichment for the few. It's a scorched earth and a journey we are still on every day. The Zondo commissions, the revelations bring us news of greed and of everything that was stolen, not just the money. Money is almost just the symptom. If you steal money from the elderly, and you steal money meant for those who are struck down by the coronavirus on their sick bed, you steal not only the money, you steal perhaps their only chance in life. To life. You steal their comfort in the last days of their life. Stolen. Opportunities for our children. Stolen. The dreams of justice our people have fought for. Stolen. The hopes for a meaningful life. Stolen. Trust in our leadership. Stolen. It is a scorched earth journey that we are on. And as in 1976 and 1985 and 1989, it seems the sacrifices do not stop. A sword still pierces our hearts. And on top of it all, my brothers and sisters, we have the coronavirus, almost like an angel of death, hanging around in the shadows, stalking us, around us and behind us. But We read from Matthew 1 verse 23. And it says his name shall be called Emmanuel. And that means God is with us. Not just with one, not just with one select group, with all of God's children, in all of God's world. That is for me the hopeful sign that this journey that we are on is not in vain. Our journey may be threatened, but it is not hopeless. Our journey may be hard, but it is not leading nowhere. Why? Because we have the assurance from the Advent message, God is with us. And not only that God is journeying with us, God is on God's own journey towards justice, towards the fulfillment of our humanity, towards a new humanity where all of us will embrace each other in God. That's God's journey, and God is taking us with God on that journey. And so I do not believe that our journey is in vain. The star that guided those wise men did not stop by the palace. They did. And there the king tried to convince them to come back and tell him where the child was so that he could worship him, while his intention was to murder the child. But because God was with them, they looked up and they saw that star did not stop above the palace but went on and stopped above the crib where the baby was. Because that's where joy was, that's where hope was, that's where the future was. And that's where they went. And because God was with them, the angel told them not to return to the palace, and they went back to their country around a different way. Why? Emmanuel. God was with them. And the Bible says they went on their journey back to their country with their hearts filled with joy. Why? Emmanuel. God was with them. So as we journey on through this difficult and sometimes dark and threatening Christmas towards a new day, please do not, my brothers and sisters, give up. Because of Emmanuel, God is with us. Do not say, I have had enough. God is with us. No matter how far we still have to go, remember Emmanuel. No matter how difficult the road turns out to be, remember Emmanuel. No matter the challenges and the adversities and the difficulties, remember Emmanuel. God is with us. Emmanuel, God is with us, and we shall journey with God until that moment comes that even we in this country, all people of all faiths, of all cultures, of all races, of everywhere and every corner, come to a place where peace and love and justice shall embrace. Because of this, Emmanuel, Emmanuel, Emmanuel. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy and blessings of God be upon you all. On behalf of the Muslim community, I would like to send fraternal greetings of peace and love to all of our Christian friends, compatriots and their families. We wish you a blessed and a spiritually rejuvenating Christmas and a new year in which we all enjoy better health and greater prosperity. Celebrations of Christmas this year will be tempered by the physical distancing and other restrictive protocols brought on by our concern to protect each other from the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Moreover, some people will be grieving for loved ones lost, and others will be praying for the sick. In the face of such pain and suffering, Christmas affords us with a wonderful opportunity to renew our faith and hope for a better future. For faith and hope are two sides of the same coin. We have been given renewed hope for better times by the rollout of a COVID-19 vaccine in parts of the world to be followed shortly by that in our own beloved country. People of faith and hope, however, are at the same time realists who do not close their eyes to the reality that the vaccine will take at least up to 6 months before it can be rolled out to the majority of our population. In the meantime, we call on all South Africans to follow the necessary protocols during this holiday period to mitigate the further spread of the coronavirus and to save lives. We look forward in the new year 2021 to join our friends, our compatriots, and other allies in the interfaith movement to rebuild and to reshape our lives and our beloved country with a new normal of greater compassion, greater socio-economic justice, and accountability. We pray that the new year brings healing, prosperity, and peace to our country and the suffering world. May the peace and joy of this season be with you always. Merry Christmas.